Do you have your crop harvesting needs met for this fall? Winterhof is the best no matter what color or combine you got behind it. Making premium harvesting heads no matter the crop. Check them out at Winterhof.com.
Why are they ahead of the class? Well, it's because they're the best. Most efficient, most durable, most reliable. You know why. Winterhof.
Obviously, we're doing farming and stuff, just really weekend warrior, I call it. And then, Bitcoin mining and YouTube and stuff like that. And then I also, 2 years ago, started a company called Squad Built Inc. We're creating a mobile farming simulation game called American Farming.
There is a podcast in Iowa, Farm4Profit was named by they. Fate stirred up a banker near, then quick came an auctioneer. Making profit was their first goal, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go. These formats shook us to our core. With Farm4Fun, you will not snore. The banker set all mics to on, and the mullet of podcasts was born. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go. Before we knew, conversations grew. Growing corn even said F you. So won't you join Tenor, Dave, Corey, and crew? Please like, share, review. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go.
And listeners, welcome back to the Farm4Profit Podcast. This is Tanner Winterhof.
This is Corey Hillebo.
And this is David Whitaker.
I wish my name came out of my mouth as smooth as your Corey Hillebo. Just short. Boom. Right there.
If you were what do you call the phone people that called you in the 90s? Telemarketer, you could never say my name right if you tried to read it. If you had to read it.
Siri says Hillebo because I always say call you.
Yeah.
And calling Corey Hillebo.
That's funny. Hey, listeners, this is a Farm4Fun show. So we release 2 shows a week. Monday is the Farm4Profit. Thursday is the Farm4Fun. That's what we're about ready to kick off. But if you have ideas for either one, send them to farm4profitllc@gmail.com. We love our suggestions. We also love the reviews our listeners leave behind. What was that?
My turn. Today's listener review. It's getting crazy in here. Today's listener review is brought to you by Ag Leader. I use Ag Leader on my farm. They go in all tractors, all makes, any time of the year, whether you're steering it, planting it, applying it, harvesting it, managing it. They do it all.
I wonder if there is an Ag Leader mod in FarmSim.
That'd be kind of cool. But then it'd be free. Is there?
Green Star. There's Green Star. There's no I think there's Ag Leader on there.
We got to get
There
it.
might be Ag Leader.
We should.
There is.
That's what they need.
All right.
It doesn't matter because this is the proud partner of the Farm4Profit Podcast. They help you steer it, plant it, apply it, harvest it, and manage it more efficiently and more profitably than anybody else in the industry.
The Bobtatch.
The Bobtatch. Let's go to a voicemail, 570 area code. So this is the one that we have to share with the listeners.
Hey guys, just wanted to say I love the podcast. And even though as a livestock guy, I'd like to see a little more livestock stuff in there for y'all. Give me a little more out of it. Even when you're talking about farming and crops and all that sort of stuff, there's always something I can take away, whether it be in my ranching life or just life in general. There's always a positive message to take away and something that, you know, you can move forward and make yourself a better person, better farmer, better stockman, better something. So appreciate it. Keep it up.
All right. Thank you for sending us that message. That's cool. And I don't disagree. We don't do enough with livestock.
Yep.
Let's get something planned.
You can leave your own. 515-207-9640. Text or voicemail. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think that would be. So, listeners, we told you that last week we were going to do a part 1 and part 2 because we did not get to the end of where we wanted to be for a conversation. So if you haven't listened to the part 1 episode, you should go back and do that. Otherwise, we'll do our best to catch you up, and it'll be fun anyway. Don't you think, Corey?
Absolutely.
Do that. Have we done this one before? I don't know. And we're back with the
same Farm for Fun guests as last week to keep digging into their story. They aren't gamers, yet they make a living on YouTube playing Farm Simulator. They are first-generation farmers, which I assure you the American dream is still alive. Self-made from Ankeny, Iowa. Grant and Spencer Hilbert of the squad.
All right. You think Hilbert gets screwed up like Hillebo?
I like the first three letters of your last name. What is up, guys? We're back for part 2. The first part was awesome, and we needed to cut it short and get back digging in. So we got a whole another show of cool stuff. How you guys doing?
Good. Yeah.
Ready?
Feels like we never left.
Oh, you didn't leave.
We hit some rhino smelling salts, and we're ready to go.
So to recap our previous episode, if you haven't listened and you're just going in, we got Grant and Spencer here, and they're farm sim, but we also talked about Bitcoins. If you haven't listened, you're going to want to go back and check that out, and maybe even precursor before this one. We have the guys smelling anhydrous ammonia in here or something, and it's crazy.
That's going to make me sweat.
I bet Tanner feels naughty doing that.
Oh, my God.
It's the closest thing to a narcotic you've probably ever done in your life.
Okay. No comment. I still got my brain's fresh now. Cleared out, ready to go.
Yep.
Okay, so we promised to the listeners that we were going to hit now outside of farm sim. We're going real life farm. Mm-hmm. What do you? It's not a farm simulator. You just call it farming.
But it's still a YouTube channel.
But it's still a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you obviously found an opportunity, whether it was through the YouTube channel as your day job, revenue generated from investing in mining Bitcoin, to venture out and chase what sounded like Grant's childhood dream of farming in real life. Mm-hmm. So walk us through how and when you decided that you were actually going to be a farmer.
Well, I would say it was ever since I was a little kid and stuff, but it was like, you got to figure out how and stuff, you know. You tell people, like, what do you want to do? And it's like, I want to farm. But then, you know, people would ask, well, does your dad farm or something? And it's like, no, and stuff. And I was like, well, I'm still going to farm. And the lady's looking at you like, who's this crazy kid and stuff, trying to figure out who's going to farm. So I kind of always wanted to farm and stuff. And then obviously did YouTube and some investments and stuff. And then in 2020, spring 2020, bought my first farm. So bought 2 more after that. So
farm, how big?
The first one was 120, had 70 acres tillable, but 30 were in CRP. So nice. 40 acres. And it is probably the ugliest farm in Iowa. It's got to be. So the 40 acres, but, you know, you got 5-acre patches, like 5-acre patches or something like that. So
that reminds me of, what is it? Is it the popcorn farmer? Popcorn farmer, Gavin?
Gavin Spore. Yep.
Farms a whole bunch of small pieces.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. I followed his journey. His dream is really neat. So. And
how far away did you have to go to get this?
So I saw this. So I was always wanting to get into farming. So I obviously grew up in Ankeny, but I wanted to buy kind of Story County or Hamilton ground, but you know, super expensive as a kid. And then you see, you know, when you're kind of young, just out of college, like a cheaper farm come up and stuff, and then you get the idea, okay, I could buy this farm. It's a messy farm. I can clean it up. I can farm it at the same time, but I can clean it up and potentially sell it as a recreational property. So I was kind of stupid, went after, you know, the very ugly farm and bought that one, and then just bought 2 more there. So it's I thought I was going to do a lot of hunting. Don't have time at all to do it. And stuff. I kind of bought it for that too. So
but is it Hamilton County or is it?
No, it's Poweshiek. Okay. It's Mahaska. Sorry, Mahaska. Yep.
Got it.
That's southern.
Southeast Iowa. So northeast of Oskaloosa.
Got it.
Yep.
Nice.
So it's about an hour drive, and that's the kind of toughest part. It's like you should probably think about that. You know, you're gonna be farming and stuff. You got an hour drive every day. So luckily we got a camper put in the machine shed, and
it's like what Torque said on the Barn Talk podcast. I don't know if you guys caught that clip on TikTok at all, but he's like, you can never find a farm where you live, but you can go a few counties over and buy a farm all the time.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, you think about it.
As an outsider, but, you know, there's so many internal politics and stuff and, you know, right around you. It's so hard to, you know.
Exactly.
It's so weird.
And a lot of the local farmers, they didn't want this first farm at all. They were joking like, we should just all buy it and turn it into a big lake, because it was all kind of, it's all sloping downhill and stuff. So maybe.
I think Torque always said that too. He's like, buy the ugly farm.
But, yeah.
it does just as good.
Yeah.
It's just not as fun to farm.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is
It's
if you're
funner.
making farm
Yeah.
simulator content, or
The videos we make take that much longer and that much more crazy stuff happens.
Jokes on you guys.
Yeah.
We're making more money on this farm than you are.
Yeah, so you got into this without being able to borrow Dad's line of equipment or Grandpa's line of equipment. So you started when you bought the farm. If you wanted to actually farm it, you had to go buy the farm equipment.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's
No
see.
shed, no infrastructure.
That
just-
was the toughest part. I was trying to call all the neighbors, like, "Hey, does anybody's got a shed I could rent to put in a skid steer or something quick in?"
Right.
And there was nothing. So then I had to obviously call somebody up, build a shed. So at first, I should honestly I wish I wouldn't have built the shed, but I wish I would have put up a hoop building or something. I think that would have been a lot better. But because lumber was crazy high right at the time I was building shed and stuff. So. But yeah, bought equipment and stuff. Bought a John Deere 8110 and bought a 9560 combine and a 12-row planter, and got a nice little setup going. So
did you buy those based off of the performance of the equipment in the simulator?
no, I did not. No. As a kid, I was always a green fan and stuff. So I was like, I gotta have a green.
That's cool.
And so, are you hiring the co-op to spray it and apply fertilizer, or how's that?
So I was one to do spray and get a sprayer bought. I just never got one bought this spring. But first year I had a co-op do it, and I was going to try and get a sprayer bought. I didn't get one bought, so I'm having the co-op spray this time.
Yep.
But yeah, in a couple days here, I think we're going to try and roll some beans here from your guys' podcast.
Oh, yes.
So I was like, why not try it?
Yep.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
See, that would be another good farm sim episode where the beans are up and now you go take the roller out there and then either act like it didn't go well or boom, yield just exploded.
Yeah.
Or you crushed them all and you ruined a field and
Right.
then come back in the fall and it's
Right.
nothing.
I would say, and I think I said it in the podcast, go out and step on the beans before, and because you really want to do the size of a 12-ounce can and under, basically.
Yep.
And even I found some last year that were a little bit smaller, about the size of it, that I stepped on, and for some reason, whatever, if it was time of day or that variety, they were crunchy and they'd snap.
Gotcha.
And so you want beans that just flex over and then kind of droop back up. And as long as the stem doesn't snap, you're fine.
I wonder if they have a mod for bugs in a jug.
Bugs in a jug.
Oh.
Yeah, a little.
Little microbiological.
Okay, so I know we weren't going to talk farm simulator, but that brings up a question. So, if you said you were going around to the back and hooking up the planter, is there sponsorships of whether you hooked up to a John Deere planter or a Case IH planter or anything like that? And,
Nah, we haven't done anything like that. No, nothing like
or
that.
a Brant roller or Outback wraps on a, something,
Right.
that'd be an opportunity there.
Do you think companies would advertise with you?
I talked to Stock Stop, Maywest, and they were wanting to do something like that. We never ended up doing it and stuff, but put some of their stock stompers in game and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. But we never got that far. Yeah.
The audience that watches Farming Simulator is a lot different than watches real life. You get I would say 6-year-old to 15 is right in that range.
Yeah.
Although the 15-year-olds might be on the farming, 99% of the people do not live on a farm, I would say.
And even if they are, they're probably not the decision maker or the checkbook holder.
Exactly. Yep.
I didn't think about it that way, but that's a good perspective of what type of demographic you guys play to.
Yeah. But for branding in the future, a lot
Sure.
of those kids want to farm. They're probably some of them are gonna
Just
farm.
like you. You've been a green guy, like you said. They're
Yeah, exactly. That's what the point I always make and stuff. And those kids are going to grow up running that Case IH equipment or John Deere equipment and love it. So,
I'd battle it every day in the seed industry. People just blindly go to the pretzel.
yeah.
I won't even say their name on the podcast, but it's just like, my
grandpa
planted that. I'm going to plant that, by God, and I'm going to do it with a John Deere tractor and a John Deere planter.
That's funny. So, in your couple of years of farming, everything's gone smooth, or what have you learned? Has there been some big learning experiences?
I would say there hasn't been a crazy big mistake. I make a lot of stupid little mistakes, because you're filming everything on YouTube and stuff. And so I try to be as transparent as possible. If I screw up, horrible and stuff, this spring and stuff, I'm trying to think of the worst thing, but this spring I was field cultivating some corn on corn ground. I had an old cultivator. It was just bunching up like crazy, leaving piles all over the field and stuff.
Beaver hunting.
Yeah, and, you get a lot of people that say, this kid's an idiot on YouTube or something, but I try to kind of understand or tell them that, we're just getting started and stuff.
I'm just trying to think of like how it would be to set a combine.
Yes, that was tough, and
Right.
but it's entertaining too. I guess seeing a guy try and learn it all at the same time.
But at the same way, you might be better than a lot because you don't have those old habits and this is how we're going to set it and this is how we're going to do it. And you learn from hundreds of people online rather than just your dad or, whatever. So it's interesting.
That's a good point. Exactly. I could reference my dad or my in-laws. If I have never done a task before, I could call them and say, hey, when's the last time you moldboard plowed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I wanted to go turn the edge of the fields in, I won't know how to set it.
Mm-hmm.
And our dad did grow up on farm, so he has some idea. He has the idea to point us in the right direction, and then we might go watch 10 YouTube videos the night before. We're going to go set the combine.
Yeah.
Then we're going to go try and set the combine. We'll probably screw it up, post the video. 2 weeks later, we'll get 100 comments of different ideas of how we did it right or wrong. And then, next fall, we'll put that in.
Well, now you got to figure it out. Now just do everything 2 weeks earlier than you're supposed to. So that way, when it comes time actually to run the combine, you've already got all these comments.
Yep.
Tanner, I do that with auction stuff. You get to an item, you don't know what it is. I guarantee you the public knows what it is somewhere. So I'll just call it something wrong, and then I'll get 10 emails from somebody that says, that's not a one of those, it's a one of these. Here's a link to it, and here's a blah, 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 and it was made in 1946, and here's what it is. Oh, that's thanks. Funny. I'm going to copy that description. Perfect.
If you can learn how to filter through YouTube comments and understand what's right and wrong, or at least take maybe none of it is right, but you can combine it all together and get a pretty good idea of what's going on.
Right. So when Grant did this, Spencer, and went out and bought the farm, was it part of your plan to help him? Or when did you decide you wanted to help him out full time?
Yeah, so I was gonna help him stuff. I like running equipment. I would say I do not have the same passion for farming, authentically that Grant does growing up. And actually, I was pretty much just helping him out, learning. And at the time, I just graduated here 4 or 5 months ago. And during that time, the money I had made from my YouTube channel, I used to buy a rental property in Ames. Okay. We went to Iowa State, and so I bought that going into sophomore year during freshman year, fixed it up that summer into sophomore year, and then rented it out to somebody. So that Grant and I, growing up, have always been really investment inclined, and Grant kind of saw farmland as an investment. And so that's kind of what I was doing during that time. And actually, I'm in the process of selling it right now. Try and time the market here.
Yep.
And then maybe buy some farmland or some more equipment and stuff. And recently we just got an excavator to clean up the farms. Maybe that's not the best farm. A lot of people are saying that, why are you wasting money buying an excavator?
I want one of those.
Go buy a tractor. We need a second tractor. But I kind of thought with this, I like running equipment, and maybe I'm just trying to get more hands into a lot of things. Maybe start an excavation company on the side by myself or with another buddy. But anyway, so we're gonna try and pay for the machine by cleaning up farms.
Really, that'd be good
because they're pretty. At least one's really bad, and
we did a podcast episode on that on off-farm income and how many people have a second something in the downtime, or whether it's tile or it's the one gal made T-shirts
and cards, greeting cards.
Yep.
No, I think that's a great idea.
How big of an excavator?
It's a link belt 210. And so it's 50,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's big.
We just this morning I was just changing the oil in it. Haven't serviced it. Yeah. Just bought it, put it in the field, worked with it. Had a lot of breakdowns, stuff like that. I don't think the guy took too good care of it. Yeah. And so we just had it hauled. Paid a trucking company out of the Des Moines area to haul it. And so we got it. We're actually going to tear down an abandoned house outside of kind of where we live. But yeah, kind of learning.
That'll be good YouTube content.
Exactly. And then but now we have an excuse to get a semi. We can haul the excavator, run the excavation company. I would say you asked what piece of advice we've gotten that's the best. And I thought about it more, and I would say to have your hand in two things at all times. Obviously, cliche, don't put all your eggs in one basket, but I feel like that's more investments. But maybe for your labor or time, always be doing two things at once. So have the podcast, have something else going on.
Just don't tell your wife that.
That's fair. So let's have a taste of a beverage from Dahl Distributing. Then I want to jump into a question that just popped in my mind. So what do we have now, Dave?
Goose Island Beer Company, 9.9 alcohol. This is a beach vacation for your taste buds. Tropical Bear Hugs.
So another bear beer.
Imperial IPA. And it's got a bear on the front with a teal-colored can with pink sunglasses.
You can taste the alcohol in this one.
Yeah, it's strong, but it's not harsh.
No, but I like the hazy one we had last week. A little better.
Boy, you're right.
You can taste this one will warm you up. This is one of those that you have two of these sitting at the bar, and then you stand up to go to the bathroom.
Whoa.
Like, oh, that was quick.
Whoa.
Absolutely. Thanks to all distributing. So, I'm curious. Two questions. First one should be quick to answer. So, are you only farming the acres that you own?
Yes.
Okay. And how has the neighborhood received you coming in? Are they welcoming these people who've never farmed before? Now they're competition, or are they? This is competition.
I'd say they're all welcoming. Yeah. All of them.
Except nobody would store your skid loader.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, they got an excavator now. They wanted to dig a pond. Now they all got a lake to fish in here pretty quick.
Luckily, I got to know my neighbors really good and all like how to set a combine. One of them, my seed salesman, I'll call him for everything. Like it is super nice and rent equipment from them. So, but then you get some neighbors that you never met and stuff, but they'll come up to you and stuff and be like, "Oh, I heard you create a video game and bought farmland." I'm like, "Well, not really. That's not really how it went and stuff." So. There's a lot of, talk, obviously, but no, all of them have been super nice and stuff. So
Well, that was a boring answer.
Did you? That was a boring answer. I'm curious. Did you seek out like going to talk to them? Did you go knock on their doors, or just organically meet them when they drove by? How'd that work?
I would say a lot of it's organic. I didn't go out of my way too much and stuff, but I'd always talk to people, and obviously a lot of people would always pull in when we're building the shed and stuff like that. So.
That's always interesting how neighbor relations work. We bought a farm that our hog site where my brother lives now, and it's not really out of our area, but it was like 6 miles away from out of our area. And so we went around and gave people some pork and stuff like that. Just it's kind of a smelly industry, but even though it was already there, we didn't build it, but we just wanted to be good neighbors and let them know that there was new owners and hopefully it'd be nice. So.
Hopefully be nice.
Yeah. Well, we want to be cordial, right? If they have a problem or something, give them our contact information, let them know they can call us or whatever.
Do you need to have your neighbor's approval to farm?
To put up a new hog barn, not necessarily, but it'd probably be good. And I think there's certain parameters that they have to be, like they have to be a half mile or a mile away or something like that.
Tanner and I have had this conversation. When do you be business ruthless and when do you play politics, if you will?
Yeah, and there's both at one time.
I mean, there's been times that I've thought, well, screw it. Here's what we're going to do, and this is the plan, and if they don't like it, they don't like it. Here's the plan, and some of that is just go for it and make it happen.
Yeah. Every move that you make, whether you know it or not, is remembered in my mind, right? Like if someone crosses you on something, you're going to remember that, and then if they're bidding on you on the next farm 10 years later, you're going to remember that. But if they were cordial, then you might back off. You still got to go do. They're part of the community, right? You still have to go do events and things like that. I don't know what the right answer is, but I really don't want my neighbors hating me. I like my neighbors.
But do you?
I do. John at Staple Farms.
John at Staples Farms.
He's
BTO.
ruthless BTO. So,
you guys, do you have BTOs on Farm Sim? Do you know what BTO is?
I don't know.
Big time operator.
Big time operator.
Yeah.
So you're like you're the BTO of Farm Sim.
There's a couple out. There's a couple out there on Farm Sim.
So I assume there's mods that allow you to scale up, and you can have the 48 row planner, and you can have the territory.
There's a guy that had 1,000-foot draper. He made a mod, 1,000-foot draper, so he combined the whole 80 in one pass, or whatever. 2,000-3,000
Sure.
feet. Yeah.
That's interesting because I was going to ask. So how do you pick? Having never played the game, how do you pick what terrain or what area you farm in? Like, is there an Iowa? You pick Iowa, and then it's kind of like Iowa, and you can pick if I wanted to farm in the Netherlands where Huey came from. Do you pick the terrain, or how did you get set up?
Yeah, a lot of there's only a few maps that come with the game. There's not a lot of customization. So yeah, we'll go get a mod. There's one that's on, is it McGregor, Iowa? So it's on the Mississippi.
That's a cool map.
Yeah, it's called Upper Mississippi River Valley. It's Iowa, and
a company in Switzerland picked McGregor, Iowa, as one of their maps.
No, somebody created it. Somebody from there created it. Yeah.
And how long does it take? Do you think it takes someone to create this map or a mod?
Like a good solid map. Oh God, 100 hours.
What's their
200
incentive
hours?
besides they get to play?
passion.
The passion. There's a lot of passionate. Yeah, there's a lot of passionate
crazy.
players in this game. Yeah.
Grant and I don't do any like mod creation. We just download the mods. Maybe we're kind of the bad guys. We're not bad guys. But
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things too about Farm Sim is I'm seeing a lot of guys out of Ankeny who wouldn't necessarily be in agriculture that you talk to like, hey, I do this on YouTube and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, I've played that game, Farm Simulator. So you're getting a lot of kids and stuff that necessarily wouldn't be in ag that are playing this game and learning about ag and stuff, which I think is super cool.
Which I do think why there's a place for some of these companies to get involved because it's advocacy. I'm on the Farm Bureau board, and we have a program that we literally have a full-time person that is creating things to go into Des Moines and inner city schools to just have a garden and teach kids that, because they're so removed from agriculture anymore, to know where your food comes from. If these kids are watching this, what a great way to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what's the craziest thing? So you're a social influencer, both of you are. What and you said your demographic that watches it is probably 9 to 15, 9 to 20. So what's it feel like to be a social influencer of kids?
it's interesting trying to always put yourself in their shoes when you're younger, when they come up and really nervous and stuff. So always trying to make them feel comfortable and introduce yourself. And
so is there like a Comic-Con for Farm Sim where you guys have these meetups where they can come meet you?
there is like an official Giants who's the developer of Farming Simulator in Germany, but we've never really went to that. A few times, like we were out snowmobiling in northeastern Iowa, then a group of 10 guys all of a sudden recognize us or something.
Yeah, you'd see a lot of kids. Like you'd be in McDonald's or something, let's say, and there's be a kid that you walk by and they, out of the corner of their eye they stare at you, and then they keep staring, and I'm like, Spencer, I bet you watch this channel and stuff.
You know you've been.
And I know it every time. The kids just laser eyes stare at you like forever, and so I usually try and walk up and be real nice to kids because I remember when I was younger and stuff, I'd be scared as heck to
buy an extra Happy Meal and give it to them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the Farm Sim guys, the squad guys bought me a Happy Meal.
Mm-hmm. So not only do you have just Farm Simulator channel, you guys both have your own personal channels, correct?
Yeah. So he has a farm sim channel called Spencer TV. So that's farming simulator. But then I have a real life channel where I just, document the journey of a farmer called Grant Hilbert, just my name. And so that's where we film all real life content on there. And
so there's no farming simulator on there.
No,
you're actually doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's that's definitely a older audience on there. A lot of older audience on there for sure. Not many young kids.
That's your Zach Johnson, your millennial farmer channel.
Yeah.
Basically.
I was super inspired by him and a couple others and stuff, and I loved watching their stuff growing up and stuff.
Yeah, that's very cool.
How's that? Has that grown pretty good?
It's at 130,000 subscribers. Wow. So it's, but a lot of that kind of came from the other channel and stuff. So it's slowly grown. I'll film like a week's worth of work on that. So it takes a lot longer.
It's a lot longer to get content. So how often do you post on that?
Once every week or two. Yeah.
Wow.
But
that's a lot to do though, like in the winter or something when it's kind of slow too.
Correct.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be a month in between during the winter or something, but it's the big priority, I guess, for Grant is more so the squad YouTube channel. That's kind of what grew with the Grant Hilbert channel. Mm-hmm. And then, this is obviously it takes 2 weeks to culminate.
Did we ask where the name The Squad came from?
Oh, I don't think we did.
Okay, so
that originally started back in 2014 with a couple of buddies. We were going to create that YouTube channel together, and then we started it together, and then 1,000, 2,000 subscribers. I started doing farm sim on that channel. They wanted nothing to do with that. So then I took over that channel. So it originally started as a couple buddies and stuff, but then Farm Sim took over. So.
That's the way this podcast started. I just can't get rid of the buddies.
Try.
That's kind of cool that you persevered and you had a vision. You saw what was potentially going to gain traction, and went that way.
So what do you tell kids like my kids now, something that wasn't a thing even when I was a kid at all, being the oldest person in the room here, was social influence and YouTube channels and whatnot. Now my kids are like, yeah, I'm going to be a YouTuber. And I'm thinking, what? You're going to be a YouTuber. You need a real job. You're going to have to make money. You're going to have to whatever. But now meeting multiple people that have made a living from being a YouTuber. What's the kids need to know? Is it like football? Like when I'm thinking of football, Super Bowl, you get to professional league. I mean, there's maybe one kid in the state that might make it to, the best of the best of the best makes it to the pros. What's it like is it YouTube, just random happenstance, or is it the best of the best?
Because what was Brock Purdy? Brock Purdy was picked 264, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant.
So 264 humans got drafted in the NFL
in front
this
of
year.
him. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting though, because I don't know kids, like everybody who's a YouTuber now or who does it full time, let's say, didn't grow up knowing and dreaming they were going to be a YouTuber. Whereas now you have your kids growing up dreaming, wanting they're going to be there and stuff. So it's a lot tougher and stuff. I've met some people that you just knew right away they were going to be absolutely amazing YouTubers and stuff. And for me and stuff, it happened by luck, I would say, chance. But have you guys heard of Mr. Beast on YouTube?
Yeah. My kid watches him all the time.
Back in 2017, I was on a call with him. This guy was at 1 million subscribers, which is nothing compared to where he's at now.
Yeah.
But you talk to him, and it's like, holy crap, this guy is going to be amazing. He's so crazy dedicated on being the best and the most subscribed YouTuber ever. Now look at him, he's at like 70 million subscribers.
Yeah.
But the ideas he had were just flowing at the time.
Sure.
And he's just, taking giant leaps. So I'd say there's a dedication to it.
It's like I think you're right, a professional athlete.
It is. It's
not that you have to practice, but the amount of work that goes into it, I think, might be more than people think.
Yeah.
I would say the same thing for people that want to start a podcast.
Yeah. Yep.
Is there was a time to where, kind of like when you started TikTok, there was a time to where followers were cheap.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, because there was less choice. Now we have so many choices. YouTube channels, podcasts, TikTok accounts to follow.
But also the career thing, it's going to be interesting 10 years, a decade from now.
Yeah.
It is going to be super hard to stay relevant and entertaining. So how long a career can you make out of it? I think YouTube and the social media thing is always going to be there, but you have to adopt and stuff, and things are going to change a lot.
And does your demographics stay the same?
Yeah.
Now that like 10 years from now, when they're 10 years older, is it the same people that are watching them? I bet there's some content creators that it's based on the content you're creating, and then the other one is the person that is the actual person that is the YouTuber.
Yeah.
So as the YouTuber changes, the clientele might be different. But
when you think about it, I'm looking at Spencer here as he's nodding his head throughout this conversation. As right now I'm picturing in my head the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen twins.
Yep.
How they started off acting on Full House, and then they went into teenager roles, and then they got into
drugs.
Just going to say
adult roles of some sort.
You know what I mean? Just the point of the same thing is right now you're entertaining a younger demographic. How you molded your actual farm channel into your Grant Hilbert channel into entertaining older demographics. Now you picked a larger swath of audience to continue to do, to where you might still continue doing this 30 years from now, and it just may look different as to the content that you're creating.
And I wonder if you need to pick, if you're going to be a YouTuber, do you need to pick a certain niche? And the reason I say that is so having some entrepreneurial startup ideas myself, the first ones I picked were very small, narrow worlds with not a lot of people in them. They went well, everybody accepted them well, but you're not making a product that affects the entire population. Now, if you had something that every man, woman, kid out there has to do, is involved in, maybe your just demographic is that many more people to watch you. If it's something, you know, farming even, there's only a certain demographic that watches farming. You know, there's only a certain demographic that likes John Deere. But what is something that is big enough that the whole world, Mr. Beast is more on, he has stuff that affects every demographic.
Right. Everybody can be entertained.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into what you guys have planned for the future, I think that'd be a good way to close this episode out. I did want to share, Corey and I have had a great laugh over, I think we get this email about once a week to our Farm4Profit at LLC at Gmail account. And it's from Tina. She's a reality TV casting director, and I'm looking right at Grant over at Cornwell Casting. I'm currently casting new television show looking for single male farmers nationwide. I came across your Epic podcast online. Of course, she's talking about our podcast. Epic. Yep.
Can tell how sexy you are by your voice.
And thought that you might know some awesome people who'd be interested in hearing more about our show. We're looking for single male farmers, must be 21 years or older, looking for love. Would you be interested in sharing our casting flyer? We're not going to share the casting flyer, but I am going to send him Grant's email address.
Nice.
No, I've gotten that email.
Oh, you've gotten this one?
He's already yes. I swear I've gotten it 2 different people too. It wasn't even Tina. It was something else.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So yeah.
Well, now that means that I'm not going to get my $1,000 finder's fee. So when you use the code Farm4, no. Dang, that was lackluster. I mean, it was still had a little bit of comedic
That's funny.
weight to it.
So you didn't respond? You're not going to go do
I
it?
didn't respond. No. Sounds fun.
Yeah. It'd be like the farming bachelor.
Well, there was a farming bachelor, and then he got in trouble. What
Then he
did
got
he
in
do?
trouble. Yeah, he got DUI or something.
Steal for somebody? Oh, that's what it was. Just a DUI.
Didn't he wreck a vehicle or so?
He was driving a tractor, I think, in
Yeah.
OWI. That's I was the only one with OWI, or maybe Illinois too.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. All right, so let's spill it here. What you've got your hands in so many things. You've talked about mining Bitcoin, so you're in crypto. You have your YouTube channel, both for Farm Sim and for real life farming. What's the future hold for Spencer and Grant? What are we looking at here? What can people expect? 5, 10, 15 years? What do you want to be when you grow up, as Dave asks?
Spence?
I would say I try not to look that far out in a real concrete sense. More, I mean, yeah, trying to have. I was talking about earlier, hands in everything. So kind of early college. I study finance and economics, and our parents have some real estate properties, and I always kind of thought, I could do that on the side while having a job and just keep investing. Maybe people have heard of Bigger Pockets or Rich Dad Poor Dad, read that book and stuff. Grant got into farmland and more interested in working outside with equipment and stuff, and so maybe start an excavation company or just something on the side while doing YouTube. Maybe start buying some farmland, work the operation together with Grant. But honestly, there's a lot moving parts and different things, fluid, changing at all times, just working hard.
I think you got like the perfect setup. I always want to start this. You got an excavator. You got a farm where you can dig a hole and fill it back in. Just let people from Des Moines just come and run your excavator for like an hour for a few $100s, and they just get to play. It's like real simulator.
They get to make their TikTok
they
and
get to
content
make
for their YouTube
like, hey,
channel.
look at me. I am in an excavator.
That's what you
Smashing a
should.
car or
It should
something.
be
Yeah.
influencer camp.
Yeah.
There you go.
Here's content. We're content camp.
Content camp. Oh, yeah, you can't
we
do that.
go.
We're using this. Yep, sorry.
They have those Instagram boosts that people come into the mall and take pictures. I mean, that's kind of the idea.
Content camp. We might have just done it, guys.
Yeah.
This might be the last Farm for Profit episode.
I think we are, like-
We're running content camp.
There you go.
That's cool. I like that. And before Dave interrupted, no, I'm kidding. I did lose my train of thought, but I wanted to applaud you on leaving your options open. That it's not. It's nice to have a clear vision. I knew I wanted to be a banker for a while, but there's always that wonder of, okay, so what could this become next? So that's really cool. But when I stalled long enough until I got my thought.
We're gonna flip him into a podcast host one of these days.
Okay. So is it to the point now in your day to day to where you won't go do something else because you need to post to YouTube?
It used to be, and now that I'm done with college, so now college is out of the picture, and I can throw something else in there. And I also have a employee now that kind of helps me run the YouTube channel. So trying to step away from that a little bit, and post videos ahead. But sometimes, yes, I have to get back there. And same with Grant. I mean, there's constraints and stuff that you can't just run away for 2 weeks and go off do something.
Right.
And so,
But if you got a good weather window and Grant needs help planting,
oh yeah,
you could.
there. Yeah. Whenever Grant was in the field, we were always there, and sometimes I was there and he wasn't, or doing a little project with the excavator, tearing down trees, cleaning up the farm. Yeah, this spring we spent the most time for sure, because last fall I had school. Grant was out, and so I was scooting down there, skipping class, and COVID helped, and online, and yeah.
All right, Grant. What does Grant want to be when he grows up?
I'd say the dream is to farm full time. I've always said that. Like farming full time would just be cool, if you can make it work. So that's a dream and stuff. And so right now, obviously, we're doing farming and stuff, just really weekend warrior, I call it. And then Bitcoin mining and YouTube and stuff like that. And then I also 2 years ago started a company called Squad Built Inc. We're creating a mobile farming simulation game called American Farming. And so this is obviously recorded ahead of that, but we're going to announce that here end of June, early July. And so it's a mobile game that's based out of Central Iowa. I took terrain out of Central Iowa, create a whole map, true U.S. buildings, U.S. farms. And then we got a couple brands in there where we have equipment and stuff like that, some crazy character customization. So I have a whole team of developers and modelers and stuff that we're working on that. So we've been going crazy on that, and hopefully we can turn that into some type of success, hopefully.
She said mobile. This is
mobile.
something that I can play on my cell phone.
Yes.
Download
iOS
that.
or Android.
Yep.
Yeah. But the thing is with FarmSim, you have so much GPU power and stuff that on PC, you need a $4,000 or $5,000 computer to run it.
Yeah.
If you're going to do the same thing on mobile, like you got to take down all these equipment models down to small size and small detail. They're not going to be as detailed, and try and build this thing for mobile. So it's a lot tougher in that sense.
Wow. So is my
yeah.
farm in there?
It's not. I bet you we have one close to that.
Oh.
Got to get John at Stapler Farms as a mod.
Yeah. So, but this one you can't cheat on it. So, well, you can pay $3-4 to buy $1 million worth of coins or dollars or something like that. That's kind of how we make our money. But this one, you actually start out with two real small farms. You have a small farrowing to finish operation, or you have a cow-calf operation. You grow them, and then you sell them, and you start off with like 40 acres. And we got some old international tractors that you start off with, and then you work your way up. And there's some big farms that I made on the map where you can eventually get to a big farm. So
cool.
But you can't just jump into the big farm.
No, unless you want to pay me
Spend
20 or
the
$30. Yeah.
Oh, it's only $30.
Well,
I mean,
whatever.
all right.
That's
Can't be a BTO in real life.
Have you guys heard of Clash of Clans or seen people play Clash of Clans?
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of the idea. And maybe your kids or something, and we're playing it, and especially the viewers, I feel like everybody knows Clash of Clans. So you're starting out level 1, and you see your buddy at level 20. Okay, I can pay $5 to get to level 10 in a week, or get some bonus and stuff. So that's kind of the idea.
People actually played that?
Clash of Clans?
Yeah. I just thought it was just a spam.
Oh,
frickin'
yeah.
deal.
when we were kids, it was huge.
They were all over the place.
It was huge when we were kids.
Yeah. I remember seeing it all over the place. I'm like, it just seems like a waste of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem that I always had was, like you said, the Farmville on Facebook.
Yeah.
I would start it and then come back, and I missed when I was supposed to harvest my crops, and it's like, well, this is a waste of time.
And with this too, the farming simulator game is a European company that makes it out of Switzerland. So we're a U.S. company that makes it, and there's a lot of little stuff that if you're a U.S. farmer, you'll notice that they do wrong, like tires, row crop tires. They'll put, well, I guess some guys put big ass LSWs on now.
Yeah.
But a lot of little stuff like that. Their buildings are off, terrain's off. So we want to build kind of an American map. Cow-calf operation, farrow to finish, stuff like that.
So why go the mobile route instead of doing it on the same platform that you're filming all your YouTube stuff on?
It would cost a lot of money to build it on PC and console. Yeah, right away. So mobile is where we're starting. Yeah, it's a lot easier to get into it.
I've got one question left that should have been asked a while ago. So you guys are 22 and 24, and you obviously have a great head on your shoulders. A lot of kids, people your age and older, they're 30, still living in their parents' basement, don't know what to do with their lives. Your parents had to have a pretty big role in molding you and investments and money and all that, or did you guys just come across that yourself?
I always said they did a good job, I think.
Yeah.
Our mom works at a bank and she does loans and stuff. And so we always, every night we would kind of go back and talk about the financial crisis. Well, we were younger. We didn't really fully understand it, but I feel like some families don't talk about money, and we always kind of did. And it's just kind of a conversation that we always had, and working hard and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's super important stuff. Like my parents right now will just debate a lot with them. And I think that's really good to have debates about over, the future and what's happening right now. So I think that's helped a ton.
Tanner smirked when you said you were brought up by a banker. So
The only way to get brought up.
oh,
So
boy.
Tanner, your kids, are they old enough where you talk to them about finances and stuff?
So 8 and 6
Okay.
currently.
Yeah.
And yes, my oldest does understand the concept of money. She does understand that she has to work to earn and what it costs to spend, but slowly stepping into that side of it. Our street is very entrepreneurial. There's a freaking lemonade stand every Saturday. And the best part about it is, I don't know if you guys follow Gary Vee.
Yes, yeah. He got me started, yeah.
The funniest part is that they are doing what he's saying because it's no longer just lemonade. Sometimes it'll be lemonade and popsicles. Sometimes it'll be lemonade and snow cones. And sometimes it'll be lemonade and I'll draw you a picture. I mean, it's just fascinating on how they're trying to, we use the term one-upper.
Yeah.
How they're trying to do better than the neighborhood other lemonade stand, because we're also very blessed that our street, my 8-year-old, so she's going to be a third grader, has 5 of her classmates, 5 of her grade age level on our street. My kindergartner, going to be a first grader, has 4 friends. So, I mean, we're just lucky that we don't have to babysit during the summer because they all just kind of play together. But same thing happens. Everything's competitive. So, so yes, they do understand the concept of money. They're still young enough to where, no, we don't talk the housing collapse of 2007, 8, 9. We haven't got to that far yet. But they do get the concept of money and what saving about is and what donations are and who can we help out. So,
Do they watch Gary Vee, or you just?
no, I
okay,
yeah,
you did.
just
I didn't know if you showed him it or something. I was kind of interested if.
Speaking of Gary Vee, can you guys explain to Dave what an NFT is? Do you guys know that?
Non-fungible token?
yeah, but
Dave-
what
Dave and
what
I were
is that
asking-
today?
What's a good way to explain it?
It could be rights to go to a concert 5 years from now, and you bought an NFT that gives you that pass, and you're going to go backstage with, I don't know, Snoop Dogg or something, backstage, and then let's say Snoop Dogg gets really, bad example of Snoop Dogg, somebody else, country performer that you saw in a bar.
Tyler Richton and the High Bank
Yeah,
Boys.
there we go. Tyler.
Yeah.
And you see potential in him. And his NFT right now is $50, and he's gonna be really popular 5 years from now. So you buy his NFT, go to his backstages. 2-3 years from now, the NFT is worth $5,000 because he's huge. He's on CMT Music Awards, whatever. Gets super popular. That's one way to apply an NFT to a small niche. And that's an example I guess I go to real quick. Maybe you can understand.
So, like,
that a
we
little
could
bit.
have an NFT as
What-
the Farm for Profit
Yeah.
podcast,
What?
and it would grant you a interview on the show, which is worth us asking you today to come and begging you to come into the studio and sit down with us. But in the future, we may be like Joe Rogan status,
Yep.
maybe,
Yeah.
and you'd have to pay to be on our show.
Let's say Case IH and FarmSim partnered up and made 100 quad track tractors. That's going to be it. That's it. And then these are traded on an online marketplace. And these are the only quad track, was it 620, that you
Yep.
can use in FarmSim forever. Eventually, those would have some scarcity, assuming that Case IH and FarmSim held up their scarcity to it and they didn't make any more.
So, if there was a little bit more emphasis on the scarcity factor for the Bush Light
Yeah.
quad track, baby quads,
RX.
the 8RXs,
Yep.
if they'd have done, maybe that should be their next campaign. Not a physical can, an NFT. That eventually we're going to put together 30 racks.
In Farm Sim?
Farm Sim. Maybe not in Farm
I'm just
Sim.
out sitting drinking beer on deck.
You should. Your audience is 9 to 15.
That's
probably not
the
right.
late night coffee shop. Yeah, that's probably not.
Maybe it's a way to virtually tokenize physical experiences and products, maybe.
Yeah.
To apply it. But there's a million different ways people are applying it virtually, where you're like, VR, you're a virtual person in a metaverse, all that stuff. We don't really mess with that. Don't understand it too much, but I guess a good way for the audience to understand is tokenizing physical.
It's kind of like a little bit of a loan or an IOU. Like, you're raising money now. We need money now to sell you something in the future. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong.
That's what I was talking about earlier. Is I got asked to sell farmland in the metaverse.
Yeah, there's a lot being sold. There's a lot of ground. Yeah.
They want to have an auction
On the moon or what? Like,
It's called Decentraland.
Decentraland is one of them. There's a couple plots that have sold for close to $2 million.
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Las Vegas Strip.
Real
you
money
could buy.
moving
virtual.
that you'll have land in
Well,
the
how do you
metaverse.
make money with it? Down the road.
We're just holding it right now.
So like
Somebody else is going to sit at home with their VR goggles on and want to go to Vegas, but they can't because somebody just bought it.
Well, if it does, come about and Decentraland becomes successful and we're all on it in the future, you're going to have a lot of advertising rights right on that space. So you can advertise like crazy. I mean, it'd be like owning, the ground around Des Moines or New York, right? And so you can sell it to somebody to build their house on someday. I don't understand it fully and stuff, and I don't own any, but it's really interesting. Yeah.
I think you should run, not walk. To at
I
least
think we
be
should
able
at least do it
to
out
cry
of-
those auctions.
At least buy some ground out of a joke.
Yeah.
That's
Farm ground's
simply how
gotta be
you
cheap in there.
Well,
Yeah.
we're going to put out our Venmo account so that way our listeners can send us money so we can go buy virtual ground
in the metaverse.
in the
Let's
metaverse.
buy Nashville.
Ooh.
And where I was asked to sell it is actually the fundraising auction. Fundraising auction with some people in California would like to buy land in the metaverse.
Do you remember what site it was?
I
Was it-
don't.
Okay.
I'm working with another fundraising professional in Florida, actually, and she says, "You're the land guy. You know how to sell land
You're like,
better
"Darn
than,
right I am."
better than anybody." And she's the fundraising. She's the gala gal. So
Gala Gal and the Farm Guy go
Yeah.
to Metaverse.
go to the metaverse. We're going to sell fundraising.
Dude, I don't know if you can see this or not, but like this two sets of eyeballs here sitting across the table from us are saying, you need to go do this. I guarantee you, as soon as we set these mics off, they're going to be like, who is it? Where can I go? How do we do this? Absolutely. All right, guys, 2 shows. Freaking awesome. You guys have been a pleasure to hang out with. We asked you a ton of questions because we were curious as all get out.
Yeah, that was great.
I kind of actually want to play now. I don't know when I'm going to find the time to go play, but are there any mods that I can like play quickly?
Just a couple you can down. We'll send you.
That's awesome.
You got high-speed planners now.
Did we? That's fair.
They've always had those in farms.
Yeah.
So with the Hilbert brothers, did we miss anything? Is there a question we should have asked you?
No.
So that stems from a TEDx talk that I listened to from Megan Clark here from Iowa. She told a story down about her experience at the state fair. She was showing a cow. Actually, showing a calf. I'll say it politically correct. Showing a calf at the state fair. The FFA does first-time state fair goer tours. So there was a gentleman that came by, had this big ribbon on, first time ever state fair, came by and he said, what are you doing? And she goes, well, I'm showing my fair project. And he goes, oh, well, is that a horse or a cow? And she goes, it's actually a calf. It's my Hereford calf. Or no, it was a Charolais. I'm pretty sure it was a Charolais. Anyway, a Charolais calf. Oh, well, that's great. Why do you have a rope around its neck? Well, it was a halter. It wasn't around its neck. But it just, the way this interaction happened so quickly in her perspective, she then reflected on it and made a TEDx talk about what she wished he would have asked her because she would have educated him. Clearly, this guy knew nothing about agriculture, thought it was a horse, and thought she was choking it, to the point to where she then goes into 10 minutes of, I wish you would have asked me how many hours I spend working with it and how comfortable I can keep it in, how well we treat animals and so on and so forth. So that's the basis of this question. What do you wish we would have asked you to tell more about your story?
Spent, you got anything? I'm dry over here.
Well, I
can't think of anything.
Think about it. We will professionally pause here for a little bit, Corey.
Maybe she should have just told him
Right.
what he needed to know.
Right. Okay.
then
So
she
what?
wouldn't have
Because
made
he
a
didn't
TED
know
Talk.
the questions to ask.
Well, what do our listeners need to know then while these guys think about what we should have asked them?
To go leave us a voicemail,
Where?
515-207-9640.
What if they have an idea or a topic they want us to talk about?
Same place, or farm4profitllc@gmail.com.
And we should do more about livestock.
Or DM us
Ooh, how can they find us on social media?
at Farm4Profit LLC.
This is the lamest stall that we've ever
Right?
done. But it was kind of a fun play, right? It was like a test.
Should say you're
Should
the
we
only-
get our own TikTok account? Because they're all personal right now. Should we
No,
get a Farm for
personal.
Profit TikTok? Just personal.
I tell you why. I've watched all social media profiles lately, and everyone that I have for business has slowed down, and everyone that I have for personal, I started over posting content on my personal, cross posting. I'm getting way more traffic on my personal.
Everyone
than
except
I have.
Barn Talk. Barn Talk's killing it.
Smashing it out of the park.
On
And
TikTok.
and the squad.
Got a question for Grant.
What is it?
So when Grant started, it was pretty authentic. It was pretty genuine. It was out of the pure love of playing farm sim. And Grant, you would say maybe you thought or you knew people were making money on YouTube, but didn't even realize that you were going to. When was the transition from? And this is might help somebody who wants to start their own YouTube channel. The best way to start a YouTube channel or any endeavor, I feel like, is through passion. So when did it kind of go 100% passion to maybe 95% passion, and now, hey, this is a business. I need to, turn around and turn it on. So,
Yeah, it's tough. Freshman year of college, I'd say, like you start realizing, oh, I can make money. I got to do this every day. I'd say, yeah, freshman year kind of, and it's
So is the fire still there?
yes, I'd say it's there, but I'd say it's once you get a hold of real life farming, it's like I just want to go real life farm. I don't want to do this crap.
Yeah.
Not crap, but I just want to farm real life. Sure. Yeah. So
that's something Gary Vee hits on is to start something. He's always like, doesn't matter if, you're spending from 8 p.m. to midnight. If you love it, to start it is always tough.
Absolutely.
I had a new guy, firefighter, asked me that once. He's like, this is like Deep Blue Hero stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's just a job. And he says, just a job. He's like, this is the best of the best. And I said, yeah, it's just a job. Wait about 7 years and it'll just be, you'll show up. Yes, it's cool, but it's just, and he hated me and resented me for that comment. And 7 years later, he came back and said, all right, yep, it's a job.
Well, that's good. Well, gentlemen, thanks again for sticking around. You spent a lot of time with us. We greatly appreciate it. We look forward to the game release. What'd you say it was called again?
American farming.
American Farming.
Yes.
And how, when it comes out, will our listeners be able to find it? Just go to the App Store?
All social. Well, check all socials and stuff, and then iOS and Android. It'll be on iOS and Android.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, we wish you the best of luck with the new game.
Yeah.
And obviously continued success with all of your YouTube channels. And, you can farm in real life too. Just don't farm in Corey's backyard.
Yeah, well, Dave will sell you some ground.
No, thanks again, gentlemen. We appreciate it. If people want to find your YouTube channels, remind them exactly where to go look for them.
Yeah. So the squad on YouTube, and then Grant Hilbert on YouTube.
And then mine, Spencer TV is what it's called. So,
All right.
yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks for having
Listeners?
us.
Thanks for having us on.
Oh, it's been our pleasure. Listeners, again, thank you for hanging out with us. And until next time, have a good one.